In this video, we'll see how we can create a catapult type game where you can launch objects from a device and also you're limited to a certain amount of ammunition. Let's start by selecting Add a New Creation, and first we'll draw out our catapult base. I'm going to select the pen tool, and under textures we'll select a wood texture and we'll draw out a catapult base over here to the side. Let's make that static by selecting it, and we'll change its physics to platform. And let's change back to free physics, and we'll draw out a catapult arm. Okay, so just a real rough sketch here. Okay, and we'll pause the simulation so we can position some of this stuff here. And I'm going to use a joint tool, select that, and we're going to join the catapult arm to the catapult body. Now let's add in some ammunition. If we go to the circle tool, and we'll select a concrete texture, we'll make kind of like a rock here. And so the rock's going to launch right from here. Remember, I have the physics paused so I can position this stuff. And let's go to the joint tool again, and we'll join the rock to the arm so that it'll stay there in place for the launch. Now we can add in some behaviors to actually perform the launch. We'll go to Minigame, Setup, and for the trigger, we're going to select a launching gesture. So the launching gesture is what handles the drawing of the arrow and shows the angle and the power of the launch. So this can get a little complex. We've got a few properties here we have to set. The first one, we want the user to be able to drag anywhere on the game canvas for the launch. So we select this second option, the main game canvas. And the object to launch, we click Select Object, and we want our rock to be the launch ammunition. So we select that, and then we click OK up here in the top. And we also want to rotate the catapult arm. So for this second select object, this is the object to rotate. And we select the catapult arm and say OK. And for this object to rotate, the initial launch direction at this angle that it's drawn at should be directly right. So we don't need to change this drop down. And finally, we can limit the number of launches. That's how much ammunition the user gets for the game. I'm going to set that to 5. And let's show the user how much ammo they have left by selecting this checkbox. So that'll show up at the top left of the screen there. So we save that. Now that handles our trigger. Now we have to set up the behavior. For that launch gesture, we want to apply some force to our ammunition. So let's apply force behavior. We select the object to apply force to. So we click that, select the ball, say OK. The direction of the force is going to come from the launch trigger. That's what the user draws out onto the screen. So we can just use trigger direction for that. The angle of the object at start, since this is a circle, the ammunition, we don't need to even worry about that. If it were like an arrow or something, we might want to modify that. The amount of force, again, is coming from the trigger. And the amount of torque, we don't need to spin this. If it were like a basketball or something, maybe you'd want to put a little spin on it, but we don't need to do that in this case. And we want the user to be able to launch several copies of that object. So we select this checkbox, and let's let them select up to 5 copies so they can launch 5 times before they start getting recycled. And let's play a sound when they launch. I'm just going to select drip. And so we save that. Now let's try this out. If we say minigame, play game, first we have to save our creation. So let's do that. We'll give this a name, catapult launch, and we'll save it. Now we can say play game, and let's try dragging out on the screen, and you can see we can launch our ammunition here, and we can also do a slower launch there. And when we run out of ammunition, the user gets a game over sign because of that property we set. Now let's go back and edit the game a little bit, and you can see this joint here is because of gravity it's coming down. That's okay. Let's go to the box tool, and I'm just going to give this some targets to shoot at. So let's change our fill color to a wood again, and we'll make some crates over here. Just draw these out, and we can go ahead and hit play here. Okay, so these will be a few boxes. And let's make these boxes destroyable. So to do that, we'll add in another behavior. And it's going to be a collision trigger. And for the objects, we're going to select all the boxes. And when any object collides with these boxes, and we'll make an impact, well actually let's just say any impact, and let's save that. So there's our trigger is the collision. The behavior is to destroy the objects. So let's destroy object behavior. We'll use the object from the collision trigger. The destroy effect, let's use fragments. That's a nice little effect where you get to see the pieces of the broken object. And let's destroy these only after they have a damage of 1. And for the sound on destroy, we'll do a broken glass sound. And no explosion for this. It's not like these are dynamite or anything explosive. Let's save that. And let's go ahead and try the game now. And you can see that we can launch and break the objects. So there you have it. This is Catapult launch in a nutshell.